Hello, everybody. I recently presented my offsite speech about California Prop 47. So when this speech first came up, I wasn't really sure what to do. I was thinking about presenting in front of the Boy Scouts, but I wasn't really sure how I would do that. But luckily, Kenneth has his own speech club at school, and I presented my speech the same day as his during lunch. The hardest part about this presentation was probably choosing the idea, scheduling it, and delivering it. So I wanted to choose a topic that people would take seriously. So I chose to talk about why we should remove California's Proposition 47. I know it sounds like a boring topic, and I also know that if I started talking randomly, everybody would stop listening and go on their phones. So I decided to get a little creative and use the whiteboard to draw my ideas. I did this to grab people's attentions and make sure that everybody knows what I'm talking about. When I was practicing my speech, I used a whiteboard, but when the day came, I saw the whiteboard blocked by tables and covered in a bunch of writing. Luckily, the teacher was nice enough to let me move all of the tables and erase the whiteboard. So here are some photos of my club when I was not my club, Kenneth's club when I was presenting. So when I was delivering the speech, and beforehand, I invited around 5 friends, but only 3 went sadly. And I believe there were over 15 people in the room when I was presenting. Some people walked in or walked out when I was talking. And now I will play the first 2 minutes of my speech for you all to listen to.
I want you all to picture this. This is Jimmy. Jimmy stole a PS5, an Xbox One, and AirPod Pros. This totals to about $900. You'd think that if caught, Jimmy would go to jail for a pretty long time, right? However, under California's laws, Jimmy would most likely get away with some community service hours and a small fine. Some people call these laws the Safe Neighborhoods and Schools Act. However, I call it California Proposition 47. To begin, I should get you all familiar with our criminal justice system and the different levels of criminals. So at the top of the list are felonies. At the top are capital, which is punishable by capital punishment, which is the death penalty, and it's followed by first, second, and third degree felonies. At the lower end of the ladder are misdemeanors. Misdemeanors are organized by Class A, B, and Class C misdemeanors. Under Prop 47, possession of drugs for personal use and shoplifting or theft of under $950 will be reclassified from felonies to misdemeanors. So if Jimmy went out and stole the PlayStation, the Xbox, and the AirPods, he would most likely be charged with a Class B or Class C misdemeanor, the lowest type of punishment. A Class C misdemeanor punishment would be up to 90 days in prison or up to a $1,000 fine. For the Class B misdemeanor, he would most likely be charged with up to 6 months in jail and up to $1,000 fine.
So that's enough of the video. If you watched the video, you probably noticed that I used a note card. I normally don't do this since I memorized most, if not all of it, but I was doing a speech with a lot of information in public, and I didn't want to risk blanking out. That'd be very embarrassing. I wasn't very nervous, even though I was in person, since I knew a few people in the audience, and I practiced a lot. And so the drawings look pretty small in the video, but don't worry, it's just a camera angle and everybody was able to see it perfectly fine. So there was also some background noise, but it's basically unavoidable since this was the season in which basically everybody was sick, everyone's coughing and stuffing the nose. There was a pretty big difference between speaking online and speaking in person though. Speaking online helped me practice my skills to talk, but being exposed to people right in front of you is a pretty big experience. It's more serious and nerve-wracking, and I think the most important part of all of this is to be confident. You can talk about the most important topic, but if you aren't confident, then nobody's going to take you seriously, nobody's going to care. However, I think that my experience of Speakers League prepared me well enough to talk to anybody, whether it's one-on-one or in a crowd of people. I even plan on creating a club in my school. To plan this speech, I was scheduled as a speaker in my brother's club, which meets every other week. Although it was a pretty complicated speech to arrange, it was probably the most interesting type of speech that I've ever done. Thank you all for listening to my speech, and Madam MC.